right, let's see if this works. Looks a little crooked. I think our floor's crooked back here.
How do I get to...
Go... I don't know. You're not signed in either. Your paused on Real Rap with Reynolds, John. And that's going to be a pain in the butt because then it's going to shoot to your phone.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, well, yeah, you might. That might not even matter. Oh, no, then you're not a thing. What's up, John? John Lopez, can you hear me? I'm trying something new today. I'm wondering if, can someone put yes, and I see everyone, hello. See, oh, you can, awesome. Okay, cool. All 7 of us at the moment. You can hear me? Good. Steph said yes. What's up, Chris? All right, cool. So I have a new setup today because I think this is actually going to look better. But we were trying to figure that out. They said they can hear me already.
Oh, it looks so crystal clear.
It looks nice, right?
Yeah, it's so funny how much an iPhone is better than our
Well,
$1,000 DSLR camera.
Yes. So we're good. This is great. This is much better. There's more room. Look, there's so much more room for activities.
Kinda, sorta.
You want to go do karate in the garage after this? We don't have a garage, but we have a shed. You can use that. Cool. We're good then?
Yep.
Well, Rock, do you need to get your Drizank out there?
my
Can you give me some
coffee.
water too, please? Cool. All right, so we have a good new setup. This is fun. You know you can do like effects on here too. I could like change my my look. I could do dance party, bubbles. This is amazing. I mean, come on. We just changed the game. Just changed the game. I could have a glow. I'm just amusing myself for a second. We'll get right into it in a second. Fun. So look, this is let's do that. Let's just start from the top. Jake, you can start the podcast now. For those of you that have never been here before, my name is CJ Reynolds and I run this YouTube channel called Real Rap with Reynolds. And what that means is real talk. So we're having real talk about education mainly, but sometimes life gets in there also because it all kinds of blends together. And this is coming to you live from my laundry room where I have this little office set up. My dog's sitting here at my feet. Wife is making noise in the kitchen because she's heating up her coffee that she forgot about. Or Brody's eating a Hot Pocket. I'm not really sure. It is like the one really disgusting thing we let our kids eat that is at the same time burns your face off and then has this cold thing. That's what they tell me anyway. I refuse to eat one. Thanks, buddy. So I don't know where to put this. We'll just put it up there for now. What this is in our attempt at showing up. We're showing up on Sundays, which is a lot of times the most sacred night or the most fearful night of the week for educators to show up to be there for one another. So it's not just me. You'll see all these folks in the chat that if you have a question, a comment, a concern, something you want to share with everyone, that don't be surprised if a bunch of other people start talking to you. If Kate the Sleepy Teacher starts talking to you, that's just what we do here. If Chris Carson wants to add something, if Royster adds something, this is what happens in the chat every time. If this is not a good fit for you, know that this is also a podcast, and we're working on a lot of fun stuff, man. We're working on getting all the podcasts actually pushed over to our website first, but that's something that's a plan that's going on. But we
have over probably close to 200 or just under 200 from when we started this. That's a huge undertaking.
We never note milestones. Did you notice that? We never take a minute to say, yeah, we passed 100 or something. We're too busy going.
Keep on rocking.
So if you have a question, put it in the chat. If this doesn't work for you, you can also go and listen to it. Jake will have it up by tomorrow morning. It's on iTunes and everywhere else that you can get a podcast from. So that's accessible for you as well. If you need more than that, I'm going to plug some things real quick before we get started. I have a book out. It's called Teach Your Class Off, The Real Rap Guide to Teaching. We have almost 80 reviews on Amazon right now.
Yay.
And
Thank
somebody
you,
else, John Grisham might be going, 80 reviews is nothing. But I'm going,
That's a lot for
heck
him.
yeah, man. People took time out of their day to go on there and say something nice about the book. One person gave me 1 star. But I'm not listening to that. I don't even know what they said.
Then they are not our people.
They're not our people, because people like us do things like this. That's what Seth Godin says. If you are getting ready to start the year, consider, look, man, share this with someone. Not just the book. I mean, you could share the book with your school also, but share this idea with your friends at school. Like, we are meeting at a place. Like, hey, man, it's like prohibition times. Like, hey, you want to get in on something good? I have this meeting I go to every Sunday night where me and all these great people from all over the world meet up, and it's this amazing thing. Like, it is a group we should bring people into. And there's the Facebook group, Rap With Reynolds Teaching, and there's all kinds of other stuff. You can sign up for mentoring. You can go to our website, and I do mentoring.
You can go check out our new website.
Oh, new website's getting
Still
updated.
In the process,
It is. We are taking on the whole Edie family. It's Edie and her brother John, that I call Eddie because I think Edie and Eddie sounds great together. Does he know that?
Yeah, I told him.
Okay, just wondering.
I filled him in on your ridiculousness.
Marth thinks his name should be Jeedy because it's John and Edie together. But then I said that spells Jedi, really. So, I don't know, we're getting in the weeds now.
Oh my.
So, how do I make this go away? There it goes. Cool. Got any questions for me? So if you have a question, if you could put it in the chat, if you put Q or question next to it, it just helps us to get to the question faster. I'm feeling on fire today, too.
Amanda Davis, I just want to say, oh, good gracious, I hope everything turns out well for you. My sister literally just got done quarantining because she had COVID.
Does Amanda Davis have
potentially
COVID?
She's waiting for her COVID test to come back, so she's quarantining.
Yeah, we've known a lot of people, and it's been crazy, man. Like it's been so crazy because, like, you hear what you hear on the news, but, like, the people that we've known, we've known folks that have gotten COVID, that were in the hospital for like 8 weeks. It just rocked them. Some folks we know almost died from it. I do know a few, not anyone that I know, but it's like friends, like family members of friends, have passed from complications of COVID. Actually not true. I do know someone that has passed from this. And then, but my wife's sister's fiance, Mason he said he got headaches.
He had very few symptoms, but he did have to quarantine past the 14 days. It lasted longer than before he could get they all go back to work tomorrow.
So the new science, did you see this? Mary Beth posted, if you have a certain type of blood type.
Yeah, my mom
told
me that too.
Some people are like
less likely.
Yeah, but also apparently if you're tall, you're more likely to get.
Get the heck out of here.
I don't know how that happens. I'm just telling you. Tall people.
Watch out, tall people.
Might be more susceptible. I don't really know. Anna Ballerina is asking, you give a lot of teachers advice for dealing with virtual or hybrid learning. Do you have any advice for the students? This is a great question. Yes. I think what is so interesting about this time in learning, especially with regards to virtual learning, or if that is even in the classroom now, with kind of like how they're having us like space things out. And so it's like not as many kids, it's not as much stuff as you can normally do. I think that education for students it's trying to get kids to understand their why, right? So like when I try to talk to kids about like a class or their future or what they want, or what their dreams are, this is a really important conversation to have with young people, because and give them space to dream big, huge. What do you want? What is the dream that you want? And then sharing some of our dreams with them as well, right? So that's a whole kind of another topic. But the kids know that I want to live on a farm, that I want a tiny horse, that I want a Volkswagen bus that I can drive around, throw my surfboards in the back and just go to the beach and stuff like that. Like my kids they know my vision. They know what I'm working towards. I think it's letting students know that all this only works if you do it. All this stuff only works if you put the work in. It can't be about the minimum viable effort. Because if you know what you want to do, if you know that your dream is to be a nurse, to be a doctor, to own your own business, to be, a comic book creator, video game creator, you need to get a sense of what that is. Like, what are the actual requirements to being a video game creator? I'm certain it's not just that you've played a lot of video games. That is, of course, part of it. But there needs to be certain markers, I'm certain, that you have to hit to, be able to code a certain way or be able to work on certain systems or whatever. Do you need a college degree for certain things? And then reverse engineer that. And when we can help students do that, what we're doing really is creating a picture as to why this institution, why education actually exists and why it's important right now and for you. Because education only works if the kids buy in. If they don't buy in, it's just like, what do I have to do for a grade? It's gonna be on the test. Reynolds, it's gonna be on the test. How many points is this worth? Because I'm already calculating in my head how many points I need for the rest of the year, and this doesn't actually bring my grade up, or if it doesn't hurt me that bad, I'm not really gonna do it. But if you can get kids to see like, no, bro, this plays into your life plan, and then I gear my classroom that way. It is kids over content all day, and for students, it has to be about them having some sense of why they would do this or what they're doing. That becomes really, really important. So, and then I think other than that, there is a really great TED Talk that, where do I have this? I'm gonna find it and here's what I'm gonna do. When this is done, I'm gonna get, because I can't do it because the way that I'm filming this, I can't just like pop it up there, and my wife is apparently making a sandwich for my daughter all of a sudden. So I'll post it, but there's a TED Talk that, dude, it is one of the greatest TED Talks I ever heard, and it changed my life. Oh snap, girl. It is about a guy who changed his life by setting 10-minute increments in his life, right? So essentially what he did was like, he was like, yo, I sucked as a student. But what I started doing was saying, could I do this for 10 minutes? Could I study? Could I work on this piece of homework? Could I do this writing assignment? Could I read? Could I do whatever for 10 minutes? Then he would do it for 10 minutes, and then he would go shoot some hoops. He would go back and work on homework for 10 more minutes, right? No phone, no distractions, no TV on, no radio, no nothing. 10 minutes hyper-focused. And then go play video games for 10 minutes. Or go do something, not even for 10 minutes, but just go play a little bit of video games or something like that, and then come back to it. And what he found was that if he went from doing zero homework, putting zero effort into his schooling, to 10-minute increments, it changed the game drastically. So if you think about your life, if you do zero exercises, and then you go to doing 10, let's just use that number, right, for fun, for anything, right? You are going to do 10 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 jumping jacks, 10 arm circles. I'm not really sure what these things do, but I remember doing them in school. Remember these? All right, big, little circles. What is this doing? Like, we need to start doing this. I'm going to do a fitness challenge.
It's total.
And
like,
then
for
there
long
were
enough.
big circles, little circles, and then you had to do backward circles. What was that doing? Is there a gym teacher out there that knows, were the arm circles useful?
They still do that.
They still do it? It's so silly, right? Can you run for 10 seconds, right? Like whatever it is, it's rigging the game so you can win. And I think if students really understood that, because the guy talks about in the TED Talk how he didn't even always go back to the same assignment. Sometimes it was a completely different assignment that he was doing. Like it was like 10 minutes in biology, 10 minutes in English. And if you think about it, if you go from no work to 10 minutes of work, you're getting something done. You're handing something in. You're building momentum. You're gonna start seeing the grade go up a little bit, and then you start seeing what you can actually do. And I think that is a great message to send to students.
What TED Talk is this that you're talking about?
It's the TED Talk, and put in 10. Put in granny squares.
Granny squares?
Yeah, that's another part of the talk that he talks about. Squares. It's that dude, right
This
on the
one?
top. Yep.
Okay, let me look.
Steven Giant. Blah, 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 blah. That's not really how you say his name. I just made that up. Are you gonna share it in the chat?
Yeah, but how do I?
Hit the three
I
Johns
did.
up
It
there.
didn't give me an option. Add to queue, save.
So hit on his picture with
Okay.
2 fingers.
Okay, got it.
Copy link. Got it. Who is? I don't know. Oh, here we are. I think that someone just said, "I like this man. I appreciate it." So, question: Manella's asking, "Hello, as teachers, we've got a lot to do. How do you manage your time to get all of your teaching duties done within the schedule, and how should we deal with perfectionism?" This is a great question. Feeling it. So I think there's a couple of things. One, there's a couple of different things. Well, you're good. I understand what you're doing out there. Perfectionism I think is a roadway to disaster, first of all, because you can't do all things perfect. I'm really good at some things, but even when I'm making a video, right? So I've been working for this company HMH, and this is all out on their website now. Like they have this new thing called Teachers Corner, and a handful of us that are from the internet teachers. They brought us on as ambassadors, right? So like I've been making content for them, and I've been trying to do a really great job, like better than I've ever done before. But there gets to be a point where I'm watching these videos out, and I know I have to ship. I know I have to hit send and send this thing over to them. But I get, like, I'll watch it again. I'm like, man, there's always tweaks. There's always something else that I can do. But at some point, you got to ship. At some point, you sand the wood until it's smooth enough, right? And you just are, it's like, unless you want to sit here for the rest of your life, like with finer and finer sandpaper, you're just like, it's pretty smooth, we ship. And so that's a Seth Godin idea too, the shipping idea. But I think that, gosh, like that, so that idea is going to get you nowhere. That I think having fun is more important than being perfect. I think that whatever you're doing, I think your intentions show a lot about what you're trying to do. That looking for the best outfit is not as good as just looking great. I think that having your hair look, maybe not your hair, I do put a lot of time and effort into that sucker, but I think it's like perfection is just a downfall that we need to just say no to. And so real quick, how I deal with that and how my new thing that I've been thinking about that I got from some podcast, I don't even remember where because I listen to too much stuff sometimes. Whenever I'm thinking, have negative self-talk about myself, or I start going down some rabbit hole where I'm trying to be a perfectionist in something and not seeing the beauty, right? Because what you're doing when you're being a perfectionist is you're stopping being grateful. You're no longer grateful because you're not seeing the beauty in what's in front of you and being grateful for what's in front of you. You're focusing on the negative aspects. And so when I do that, I literally, sometimes I actually snap my fingers, but I just say, scratch that. I literally stop myself and I say, scratch that. So if I start going down this rabbit hole of like something that happened with my wife, something that happened with my kids, the way that my neighbor looked at me, the way someone reacted to something online, the way that the school's choosing to do stuff, and if they do this, then this year's going to go like this, and then I'm going to have a problem with the kid, and I don't know what to do, and then it goes down, you all know the rabbit hole. So to stop that, my verbal cue to myself is I literally just say, scratch that. And then it's really been working because what it's doing is it's giving me a cue to stop, to not do that anymore. And so, Ed Milet brought this up on his podcast. If you don't check out the Ed Milet show, it's a really, really good podcast. So with regards to that, how do I handle all the work-life balance stuff and all the stuff schools give you? Look, this is I don't want to get anyone in trouble. Let me say that on the front end. That is my caveat. But I do things the way that I do things. I do what I think is really important. I don't do the rest. That being said, right? Let me break that down because that's a hell of a lot easier to say than it is to do. And I get that. But if it is about kids, if it is about, and sometimes that's paperwork, sometimes that's phone calls, sometimes that's going to meetings and stuff like that. If I don't think it's worth my time and energy, and I see that it is getting in the way of doing something that's worth my time and energy, then I don't go to it, right? And I say this live on the internet. If there's a meeting that I don't feel like is really useful for me, and I know a student needs help, I know a student is upset, I know that a kid comes in my room crying or looking down or is depressed or their mom asks me to talk to them, which happens often, right? I get into these places where like a parent will email me in the morning and say, hey, so-and-so's feeling really down today. They had a really hard, meeting yesterday, or they got some bad news or whatever. Could you please talk to them? But I know there's a PD going on. I just don't go to the PD. And my hope is that the school understands that. And I've been lucky enough to have leadership that I can go to, that can text Cho or Yank or any of the other administrators and say, hey, I'm going to be late, or I'm not coming, or they'll ask because I'm classic for forgetting meetings to begin with. Are you laughing at me because I did this the other day? Good thing they changed that meeting though, so I didn't really forget it or miss it. But I am, folks will always text me and go, "Yo, are you coming to this?" And I can say like, "No, I'm with a kid right now." I think, and here's why that works, and here's how I think you get away with this. Any decisions that are based on student success and well-being, put over curriculum, when we put that over curriculum, we put that over paperwork or whatever other mandated stuff we have to do, who can argue with that? Who argues with, oh, you were helping kids and you couldn't come to the training that we've had 17 times on how to effectively complete your lesson plans on time? I'm sorry, I couldn't make it. I realize this is important and I need to sign the thing and I need to be able to get credit for it and all that stuff. But I was with someone that needed me now, not tomorrow, not a little bit later today. They didn't want to wait for me. I needed to talk to them before they left the school building. I think anytime you have a lesson, that you miss a meeting, that you make a decision, that you do something that is for the well-being of a child, it's like, if your school wants to argue you about that, bro, just don't do it. And the other thing is that I chunk myself, right? Like, I am extremely, when I'm in work mode, right? My family knows, don't talk to me. When dad's in the flow, don't come in when I'm editing a video, don't come in when I'm on the phone, don't come, I mean, if there's something really important, like you're starving to death or someone fell down the steps or Marley got hurt again, then, because that seems to happen a lot, then just let me know. But ultimately, my wife knows that, I will eventually take a break and then we can chat. But, if I'm just in the flow, you can't bother me because my calendar is set up in such a way that I know that, all right, I'm giving 30 minutes to this. I'm giving 10 minutes to this. I'm giving an hour to this. And then I just try and get that thing done within that time. And even if I don't get it done, I at least got this much IEP paperwork done in the 30 to 60 minutes that I was giving to it. I got this much lesson planning done in the 30 to 60 minutes that I was giving to it. I got this many emails done in the 10 to 30 minutes I gave to it. So it's about chunking that out and being real strict and letting the world know, yo, I don't play because I can't multitask, right? Ron Swanson was right when he said, never half-ass anything, whole-ass everything. So I have to whole-ass everything that I'm doing because otherwise I can't do two things at once. Short questions, long answers.
Okay, this is a nice short one from Stephanie.
Stephanie Henry said, is that an origami moose? That is a moose head that I keep needing to spray paint. I think it's a reindeer actually, and it's made out of cardboard. And I got it at the Target $5 section one year, and I just liked it so much that I hung it on my wall. So can't really see it that good. Let me move this up. There he is. My moose. I want to spray paint a hot pink. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
I don't know if that's for you or for the group.
Okay, so not sure if this is for you or the group. Oh, this only has 10% on it, yo.
Oh.
I don't know if we have a charger. Joanne Markov is asking, so school starts in 4 days, and I've just learned that I'll be teaching ACT prep and creative writing in addition to English. I never took the ACT. Eek, any recommendations or resources? So I don't, but this is a great place. So does anyone have resources for taking the ACT? I know our school gets books that are sent in, and Joanne, I might have a connect for you. If you email me at realrapwithreynolds@gmail.com, my buddy Fines used to teach, I think it was an SAT and ACT course, and he went to trainings on how to do it and stuff like that too. My man he's good at it. So if you get what you can get here, and then if you send me that email, I can connect you with him, and he's really gracious and kind and would try and help you out. He's also messy, so don't let him eat lunch at your desk because it gets stuff all over the place and there's beard hairs everywhere. He does. I'm always finding beard hairs everywhere when I was working because he would just go like this the whole day. This big, massive beard.
That's all you had to say, and I knew exactly who you were talking about.
Beard hairs. It's like face confetti. That's what that's
Fines.
like. Fines is a great dude.
He is.
Fines came over recently. We had beers in the backyard one night, and we had a fire, and we were making s'mores, and he ate the whole plate of s'mores. Did we talk about this already?
I think so.
He ate the whole thing. I was like, damn, you thought that was your serving.
No, I wasn't. I was doing keto, and you weren't eating sweets either.
I know.
So I literally brought
you
it out
can only eat so many s'mores. They you have a anything with a
for 5 hours hanging out.
You
I'm
eat
sure
a
you
marshmallow
can eat
and a
for 5
beer.
hours.
It's it just expands your stomach. You turn into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Dominique is asking, my district is doing a hybrid model with parents getting the choice of going 100% online learning. So I will be teaching both physically and online. I'm nervous. Any advice? So Dominique, I think that look, I've talked about this any number of times, but I think going back to school can be really dangerous for all of us. And I was ready to so Philadelphia just changed. I let the folks at my school know that I was not coming back into the building with the plan that they had in place, right? But our schools, I really think they're trying to work this out, right? I'm not faulting at least our institution, because they are trying to make steps, they're trying to make smart decisions to keep students and teachers safe. That being said, I don't think that all schools are capable of keeping everyone safe, right? I know our school's just too small. We just can't. There's literally zero extra room. Every closet, every alcove, every stairway, every part of the basement, it is all we use space well, and there's just no room left. So what do? I think if you're going back to school, it's about being safe. It's about putting yourself first, because if you get sick, then you're potentially, I don't want to make anyone more scared than they need to be, but it's I just think about this stuff a lot. And I can talk about that if we want to talk about that. That's not the question I was asked. The question I was asked was, nervous, any advice? I think one is being safe as possible. So really, I think that not enough people know how germs are actually transmitted. And there's a YouTube video, I forget what that channel was that the kids used to watch, that had what would life on Mars actually look like? Remember, it was animated, and it was
yeah, I do.
so they had one about coronavirus, and they also had one about germs, and it talked about how germs are actually transmitted.
I think all you have to do, if you want, go to Netflix has that Explained series.
Oh,
this
yeah.
This was before coronavirus, and they just talked about infectious diseases and just how they spread. And the example that they gave was someone in a hotel room that was sick and had terrible diarrhea, and how just from flushing the toilet, the germs went up and through the HVAC system and all through the hotel, and certain people got sick just from that.
Diarrhea, germs.
Well,
in the
germs
AC
are germs. It don't
unit.
matter where it comes from.
Still, you didn't know that when you flush a toilet,
That's why you should always.
are activating.
Well, I do, because I put the lid down first and then flush.
Great.
See,
Thanks.
I really cared about your health.
We're really being open and vulnerable today. But that's a really great place to learn about that. So I think educating yourself first. Second is, I think one of the things I'm excited about, and I was just talking to my friend Joe about this yesterday. One of the things I'm excited about with regards to virtual learning is some kids just did a better job last year. Some kids really found their place in the way that they learn. They figured themselves out on some level and really did much better because there were no distractions. They had all the time in the world. The meat was cut down from it was trimmed down. The fat was trimmed off of the lessons. They could do it when they wanted. I think some kids loved that. The other thing I'm thinking about for this year is how might I. So I'm completely against live lessons. I think they are mostly worthless because there's too many students. There's only one teacher. There's too many distractions and things going on in the home. It's just it's asking too much. And not all students, I think, have access to computers at the same time every single day because they have brothers and sisters or their parents, or any of you know that if you have multiple people in your house and everybody goes on the internet, all of a sudden things went back to 1998 and it looks like we're doing dial-up AOL again. So, but in making asynchronous content for our students, allowing them to watch things whenever they want, and then, here's the exciting part, setting up small groups where you can actually meet with students that you can have real conversations with them. They're on a small group level. You can, if you have reading groups, and a lot of times, when you're doing group activities in a classroom, you can check in with kids. And when you're checking in, a lot of times everyone else starts screwing around and you have to, it's trying to really focus, but also be mindful of all the other things that are going on. All the other things went away. You're just focusing on those kids. And I think that that's a really exciting idea to be able to hone in. So if you had office hours for certain kids, not just office hours are available, and this is when we meet once a day. So like mine were at like 4 o'clock and no one ever showed up to it. Instead, what you're doing is creating small spaces where maybe 1 to 8 kids are meeting at a time as part of a group, and you're walking them through the assignment. You're asking questions or making sure that everyone understands what's going on, and you're building connections with students, building relationships with students, asking questions about, the new Fortnite update. Which new Fortnite update the other day? Everyone, you should go check it out. They revealed the lost city of Atlantis, and we had to watch like 4 videos last night about
you
it.
can see the full map.
Yeah, if TikTok is not canceled in your country yet, it's something that you could get into and talk to kids about and start getting a feel for who they are, what they are about. And I think that that's going to be where a lot of my relationship building comes this year, is by creating these small groups that will meet intermittently throughout the week, that we can connect with those students. So I think that that's what I'm doing. I think the last thing real quick I would just want to say is mindset. It's this year, right? Going through quarantine has to be mindset. It has to be, you have to be more of a priority than you've ever been before. And so to that point, an example of that is, so I'm still getting up early, but I'm not getting up I'm not doing 5 a.m. right now, right? Because there's no, I don't really see a need for it. I go to bed at a certain time. I wake up when I'm ready. And that has been really interesting, to let my body kind of sleep as long as it needs, because I've been exercising a lot more. It is getting things that you need to do the things you want. So like, just bought a bike, and I used to love riding a bike. I got away from it when I stopped training for my triathlon. And then but now I'm doing it again, and that's been really, really great. I get to take rides with the kids. I take rides every day by myself, and that's been fun. It's, getting meditation apps. If you get the Calm app, it's free if you're an educator. So you just have to fill out like a little online thing on their app, and then you get a free, I use the Calm app often, or Headspace, to fill myself up. And so it's like doing stuff that's going to put gas in your tank so that you can give to other people. Because otherwise, there's too much going on in the world right now that you just get your butt kicked every day. So it's about like really being mindful and really being careful about who you are and what you're about, and how you're filling yourself up. All right, so I'm going to start answering some questions faster, because that was like 4 questions and it took me 30 minutes. Da Vinci is asking, when will the book be available on Audible? Bro, I want to know this as well. It turns out you need to hit a certain number of sales for it to be worth it for the publisher to put it on Audible. That being said, I'm so slammed right now with so much work. Like, I'm really blessed to have as much work right now as I do. But I want to, if that doesn't happen, I'm thinking about just recording it myself and putting out some kind of like the best possible version that I can.
I think that we could do that.
I think we could totally do that.
We have a great microphone. Like, we have enough editing people that know how to help us do that.
So
yeah, we could totally do that.
Yeah. I listened to that new Kevin Hart audiobook too, The Decision, and I'm just like, this just sounds like fun. Like, cause he just has fun with it. He just like starts like, he'll like interrupt himself in the middle of something and talk about stuff. I'm like, I could do this. I could be no, never mind. I'm not gonna say I could be the Kevin Hart of education.
No.
God help us. Dion, I think I'm saying that right. Dion is asking, how do you feel about recording your in-class lesson iPhone and then updating it for the distance class? What microphone system? I think that could potentially be a great idea. I know my friend who's on Instagram as Don't Call Me Call Me Shivy. I always say Don't Call Me Shivy. I'm thinking of Don't Call Me Francis.
Literally saying the opposite. Call me Shivy.
I'm thinking of Don't Call Me Francis, the cover band from Jersey. Call Me Shivy said that he live feeds all of his lessons every day from his class because some students have trouble getting to school or access is an issue or whatever. So I think it's a great idea. If I was going to do that, right now I use a Rode microphone, but I think I would get like some kind of Bluetooth microphone that attached to my lapel. I don't think
that there's any, from my brief knowledge of looking, like I don't think there's any microphone that clips on like that, it either has a cord or it doesn't, and the ones without the cord are like wicked expensive.
The interesting thing
But
though,
Rode mic makes multiple versions.
but right now, if you're teaching in a situation where you're not as easily able to move around the room, or if that's not promoted, right? You're not wanting to move up and down aisles and stuff. If you are pretty stationary, you could get just a Rode mic like this.
Yeah, I
And
think
do it
they
like
would
that.
work perfect. And what I love about Rode is they have like multiple different levels. So like a cheaper one that's better than just your onboard
this
camera,
cheap-
but like
I mean, this thing's like
And
only a
that's-
couple bucks, and we used to use this, and it like came with the camera. It just broke actually recently, but it was like has a stabilizer on it, has like this cord that just plugs into your headphone, and if you have a new iPhone, you can just use what the hell's that weird thing?
dongle.
The dongle. What a weird name. Who came up with that? But it's just like a basic, like simple microphone with this foam thing over the top of it. We have like the updated version of this, like the pro version of this, but this would work
they
fine.
even have a smaller one. Do you remember the one
That
that
John that
used
we
to
had,
use?
yeah, we just plugged it right into the
it's
headphone jack.
Yeah,
It was like this big.
Rode Video Mic Go or something like
Yeah.
that. That's,
Yeah,
and it plugs right into your phone. Like they have so many
Yeah.
options. I think go to Rode.
But I'm not affiliated with Rode at all, so but you can go on and under most of the one that we have is linked under any video that we've put out that has the actual description in it. You'll see our Amazon store, so I can make 3 cents off of this. But the reason I'm telling you about it is the link will take you right to that. But I think that's a great idea, because then students that are learning virtually are still getting the same thing, and you're not having to remake something.
Oh, yeah, Little Space Freckle says it's called the shotgun mic.
Shotgun
I forgot.
mic, yep.
And Chris Carson said that Shure has one too. So Shure is like, do you remember Belief did a promo with Shure?
Oh, did he?
Like years ago.
Oh, so that might be actually worth people
Yeah.
checking out too. Belief in Fatherhood is a YouTube channel, so if you put in Belief in Fatherhood and then put Shure mics, I'm sure it'll pop up. And he's a good dude. He's helped us out a lot.
Yeah,
We haven't talked to him in a while. Maisha Hutchinson is asking, my old buddy, do you have changed your profile picture, I think.
it's still Snoopy though.
But it's a new Snoopy. Love it. What school supplies are you asking students to have if you're teaching online? Dude, this is such so great question. I don't think anything, because I think I want everything to be online. I think that like all the journal entries, all the submissions, all the projects, what I don't want to have, what I'm trying to minimize here is 2 things. One, it's more cost effective because everything's just free if you're using it online. And 2, it is, and especially since a lot of the families we work with, and I'm sure a lot of the families you all work with, are in a position right now where they are struggling with cash flow anyway. And with a lot of students that I have had in class, if we had any number of things, if I knew that someone was just like hard up, like if someone came to me and were like, yo, Reynolds, like my mom will get it eventually, I just gave it to them. And now I don't have that ability. The other thing is snap, I had another idea for this. Oh, I want to lessen the amount that students actually have to like go out in the world. Like I don't want to tell a mom that she has to go spend an hour going to different stores to try and find a thing. It's like just do it online. And I think that that's going to be easier, and it's easier to track. So like if someone sends you a Google Doc, or if you can see when the last time they edited it was, or you can see when they handed in. There are a few times when kids didn't, like we had to shift because like certain things, like if I had like a Venn diagram, right? This was one of the biggest pains in the butt last year. I did a Venn diagram, and I just thought like, yeah, everyone's gonna like upload it using this program, and they're gonna be able to do it, and it's gonna be super easy. But then it turns out that not everyone has a computer that could read that, whatever that document was. So I had kids just like draw it on a piece of paper, take a picture with it with their phone, and just send me that. And so it's like whatever way you can get me what I need to have, like whatever. Like it's not a big deal, but I think that's how I'm gonna roll it out this year. And we'll see. That might shift, into the year once we really see what's going on. Kay Craddock is asking, I'm thinking about doing YouTube videos for my lessons. Do you have any tips on how to make it engaging? So 2 things. One, I made a video about this where I forget what it was called. It was only, I think I made it in June or something like that.
How to make distance learning engaging.
Oh, okay, there you go. You do all the titles. So, and the thumbnail is me in front of a green screen. So just so you, if you scroll through, you'll see it in there. I think, look, basically making video content for students that is engaging. So first of all, I want to say I think putting stuff on YouTube is the move. There's no worry about like someone's going to see it. Someone's like, people have worries about putting themselves out on YouTube, but I think it is one, you are putting content where kids' attention already exists. So if kids are already on YouTube all the time, I mean, that's what my children are doing right now, is watching YouTube. If your students' attention is already on YouTube, creating content in a place that is already going to like be in front of them, I think it's a good move. I think the second thing is keeping it short. So I was talking, when I was talking with this company, HMH, they were saying that there was a study that they did that showed that content that is made for students that is 3 to 6 minutes long has about 100% or 95% engagement rate the whole way through. Anything from 6 to 9 minutes, it drops drastically. Like I think you get down to like 60% of your students are gonna watch the whole thing. Anything over 9 minutes, it drops to some rate that's like you shouldn't even bother doing it. So how can you make 3 to 6 minute videos, like really strip down what you're doing? So it's about figuring out what do we need to know, how am I going to get you to learn that, and how do I make it fun? And then just after that, it's once you know what you're going to teach and how you want to teach it, it's about how can you just sprinkle magic on there. And so like if I even look at this YouTube live, right, like I can do all these fun things on here. I can have party lights on here. I could have bubbles blowing in the background. This is just built-in software for YouTube.
Well, that's all built into Zoom too, right?
Yep, you can do all this kind of crazy stuff. Like, you know, depending on what you're doing, look, you could look like a drawing. Look, all of a sudden I'm, take on me. Chris Carson secretly going, take
John
on
Lopez
me.
said, no disco ball?
John Lopez. There might be, brother. I don't want to spend too much time on here, but I'm going to start looking into this thing because it's exciting. So I think, what was I answering? I forget what I was talking about because I started looking at all that crap. Oh, how to make things engaging. I think green screens are a great move. I think that doing green screen, I mean, you can get green screens for nothing, man. On
but that one's time consuming.
Amazon.
Like
it can be more time consuming.
Oh, you learned a new trick on YouTube, like when you're editing.
Yeah, but that's too hard to explain.
Oh.
But I think, you know, here's my other thing I've really been giving a lot of thought to. I'm actually going to go, I'm making a video about this for some other company today, but where around your house could you make the video? So not just in your house, but if you're doing a lesson on, you know, velocity, could you find some train tracks and talk about that? If you're doing a lesson on, you know, could you look at the architecture if you're talking about mathematics or something along those lines? Could you go to a shipyard? Could you go to a pond? Could you go to the woods? Could you go to you know, the middle of the street on a country road? Could you go to a swamp? Could you go to the desert? Like, what is near your house that you could tie into those lessons? Are you doing Shakespeare? Could you find a balcony? Could you find a tavern? Could you find a stage that exists outside in your community? Like, I'm really thinking about that could be kind of fun. Like, I could take my kids out, I could take my dog for a walk, I'm getting outside and I'm filming content for students in all these different places, which might just be enough, like create enough interest to have kids show up and have them pay attention. Where's Reynolds today? Where the hell is he going today? Like, what if every day you were somewhere else? And that is not that crazy when you just think all it is just shifting your camera. So maybe one day you're at this spot and there's woods, then there's train tracks, then there's the street, then there's a pond. That's 4 different places that you could go to. So I just think that that's a really fun idea as well. What do you got, dude?
Oh, sorry.
So thirsty.
Yeah.
I'm really hungry all of a sudden.
I am too. It's because I didn't make breakfast this morning.
Clearly not going to eat a sandwich while I'm on here though, because that would be ridiculous.
Everybody said that's very Bill Nye of you. Bill Nye, the science guy.
Great idea. I was going to say Mr. Rogers. We need a Mr. Rogers picture back here somewhere. Mr. Rogers if you remember that show, one of the things, let's break it down like this real quick. In creating online content, Mr. Rogers' show started every day the same exact way. And for those of you that don't know who Mr. Rogers are, you should go watch you could watch the movie, the documentary is better. I think it's called Won't You Be My Neighbor. Every day it started the same way. Every day it closed the same way. That consistency piece is something that children loved. And I read in a book that said that Mr. Rogers' show was huge in addiction communities, like in rehab centers, because it was this sense of normalcy. It was this sense of, I know exactly what's going to happen. I know how this is going to go. I know how it's going to begin and how it's going to end. But those of us that grew up with Mr. Rogers knew one of the best things was when someone came on the visit, or Mr. Rogers went somewhere to a bakery and learned how to make bread. When he went to the Crayola factory and saw how to make crowns. Like that was like, it was that show, How's It Made or whatever. It was like before that show even existed. That was the greatest part. So, hey, I'm making a video. We're in the beginning of my house. This is what this is your backdrop. This is what we're gonna learn about today. And then I go to the little stage that's in the park in my neighborhood and I talk about how Elizabethan theaters were set up, and then we read Shakespeare. I go to the railroad across the street from my house. I go to, I don't know, any number. I go to the bank and talk about numbers or whatever it is that you want to do. You're just finding that, and then you close it in the same way. I think that that's going to be my move this year and how I'm going to create content. And this is upside down.
I also just want to plug HMH. If you really, like, the whole thing that you're making, a lot of what you're making is how to make distance learning engaging. Like, so it's a lot of short little videos.
Yeah, so if you type into Google, and this is, I don't make any money if you go there, just so you know, like, I would never send you somewhere just so I can make some cash.
I think it costs for people
I think some of it's free, though, so it's worth checking out.
It is.
HMH Teacher's Corner. If you type that, because I'm part of this, I'm making videos that are essentially like people can watch during their break. So they're like 3 to 10 minute videos that people can just watch during their lunch break or something like that. Teacher's Corner, HMH, and you will find the link to it, and that can be a good place for you to check things out this year. Nick is asking, question, follow up. Did you discuss Zoom WebEx Sunday night teacher talk? No, not yet. So Nick asked last week about doing the live questions. How do we say we were figuring that out? We just talked about this the other day because I wanted to have an answer.
I'm sorry, I was typing.
You were doing something? Are you not half-assing anything but whole-assing everything?
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about, girl. Nick, I did not discuss that yet, but so Nick was wondering the other week whether or not we would do some things so that people could come on live, and that is something we're working on. So what we're working on, just so you know, and it will come up in the next few weeks, it is both doing something where people could come on and ask a question and be face-to-face interaction, and both sending this live feed out to multiple social platforms. So it would also be live on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and wherever else we think is a good move. So that is not happening yet, but that is in the works, and it has to do with, there's like some coding things that I have to get someone to help me with to be able to do it, because it's not just that simple. So that's the move. Got it?
Did we do that one?
Nope. Amy Russell, my buddy, is asking, anyone teach AP? I did a training online this summer for this subject matter, but I'm very worried about planning teaching for the first time. High stakes freaks me out. Amy, that's a great question. I never taught AP. That's not it's not what I feel like is my gift. So if you don't have answers here, I feel like that's a really great question for the Facebook group. So if anyone goes to Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk on Facebook, please make sure you answer the questions to get in so that we know that you're a teacher and you're not just some bot, or you're not like a spy or a business trying to sell stuff. But I don't have a good answer for that. But I'm wondering.
That link in
there you go.
Bam.
Bam. Look at this, because we're using
we got
the new setup.
I know. I love it.
We're ready for action. But I'm trying to think of a good piece of advice for that.
I don't think you have any advice for the AP, but just in general about, it's your first, she's not a first year teacher.
Yeah.
Just for the first
No,
time.
Amy Russell's been with us for
I
a
just
while.
think give yourself grace.
Yeah, but the problem is with AP, she's saying it's high stakes because like kids, like if they do well in the AP exam, then they can get college credit or the scholarship opportunities or things that come up if you do well in the class. And so if you're feeling like you're the teacher and like, what if you screw up?
That's why I said give yourself grace.
Yeah, I think Amy, look, I'm going to say on some level it has to do with like just deciding that you're not going to screw up. Like it's going to be all right, and if you do screw up, it's all right too. That you keep pivoting with the students and keep learning. And I think, you know, although I don't have any direct things to say like if you organize the class this way or if you do it this way, it's going to work. I do know that if you are pot committed to something working, I just think a lot of times it just works. Like that, you know, if you're pot committed to getting fit, to learning more, to being a better parent, to being a better spouse, to being a better human being, to making a certain amount of money, to having a certain like I like to have very clear goals in my class as to where I want my students to be at the end of the year. And if you're pot committed to that, all in, I just think that you don't lose. I think it's very hard. And since you're already a teacher and you've been doing this for a little while, like I have no idea how long you've been doing this, but like even if it was a year, 5 or 10, 20 years, you have some know-how, right? You can put kids first. You know how this goes. So I think it's like, no, you got this. It's the thing that we get nervous about is the unknowing. But I'll tell you what, one piece of advice I'd give is whenever I'm nervous about something, I think about the fact that if you've ever noticed, being nervous and being excited feel very, very similar, right? It's that same kind of feeling in your stomach. It's that same restlessness. It's that same inability to sleep. It's the same inability to focus. So sometimes I'll just tell myself that I'm excited about something, that I'm not nervous about this. Of course I'm not nervous about this. Of course the kids are going to do great. Of course I'm going to do a great job. I'm going to give it my all. These kids should be stoked that they have a teacher coming in that wants to give it their all. But sometimes I'll just tell myself, like, no, I'm just excited about this. It's not nervous. It's not nerves. It's excitement. So that's the best I can do. And I'm hoping that someone in here can help you out with that.
Dawn Davis said there's an AP.
Dawn Davis is a fantastic human
oh,
being, by the way.
AP Online has a wonderful community on Facebook.
Okay,
So it's like a private Facebook group specifically for AP.
Yeah.
So there you go.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Good old Dawn Davis.
Thanks, Dawn. Here you go. Next.
Who had more highlighting in her teacher class off book than anyone I've ever seen and could quote me better than I could quote myself. She is awesome. We never sent her stuff yet, did we?
No, but
it's on my
you
list.
Just ruined my surprise. Dawn Davis, email us your address.
No, I thought I had all that stuff already. I have it written down.
Did you ask her for it?
Yeah, like right after it happened.
Oh goodness.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
She's like waiting. She said it in a Facebook message or something like that.
Sending it out tomorrow.
It's on the list. All my actual list of things to do is send Dawn Davis stuff in the mail.
Well, you need to actually, paint some more gold microphones.
No.
We're out of them. We have
Gotta
one
get-
left, and it's
Gotta
already
get on it.
reserved.
X-Time G. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm not. But the question is, I'm a high school science teacher, and everything we do is hands-on and group work. Any ideas or advice on how to still foster collaboration when we have to have students stay in their seats? Dude, this is the question. Here you go. Because my class, like literally 90% of what we do in our class is out of your seat, out of the classroom, hands-on, working in groups, working together to build something, to make something, to do something, to talk about something. And now, if it's the mask and the shield and the plexiglass and the 6 feet apart, what are we doing? How do I make this work? I think the first thing is explaining to students, like, look, there are limitations here. We're going to have to figure them out, and we're going to figure them out as we go. That I don't have all the answers now, because and that's the truth. Like, I don't have all the answers now. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do all year and how I'm going to do it. But I think that we can help each other figure that out together. So one, I'd say this, because I can give you an answer, but I think it's also, this is a really good question to add in the Facebook group too. Look, the other day in the Facebook group, I was trying to figure out how to do the 4 corners exercise. And if you ask a question and then kids move to one corner if they agree, if they disagree, if they strongly disagree, or if they strongly agree. And I'm like, how do I do this online, right? And turns out there's this woman on Twitter that I follow called is it the Cult of Pedagogy, I think it is, who made a video. But the whole reason I knew about that video was because a bunch of people in the Facebook group sent me it, and then they gave me like a ton of different, I probably got 25 different comments on how to handle this differently based on the access that my students have. So I just think that that's a really good resource. The other thing is how can we do this virtually? How can we connect with kids virtually to do any number of things? And so one way that I'm thinking about is, and damn it, I'm not going to know the software off the top of my head, but I have a video coming out about it because I just partnered with Adobe, and I'm making a video for them based on this new thing. Do you remember what it is?
Spark something?
Adobe Spark? Is that what it is?
I think that's it.
Dude, it looks so fun. It's completely free for everyone. So you go on, and it's a new way for kids to partner together. Or I'm thinking about how could kids make videos about stuff where they're working together, where they're filming it together, like, or separately, but they're sending things to one another. So someone's editing it and doing voiceovers and doing research about it. How could students do that? Like virtually could be really fun. Even if they're in the classroom and they're separated, how can we help them figure out how to do something like that as well? So I think that's just one way that I'm really kind of imagining that. iMovie is also free, or there's, if you have like a PC in your school, like a lot of times like editing software for PCs is free online as well for educators. But like, how can kids like have that like collaboration? I think the other thing that might be really interesting is to talk to students about it. Like how do we make this work? Let me paint this idea. Here's what we usually do. How do you think we could get the same result as a team working together online? And what that's doing is it's giving kids a say in their own education. It's giving them a voice in the classroom. It's letting them know that, like, hey, maybe I don't know how to do this, but maybe you do, and maybe that's going to be empowering to you. I know when I first started doing YouTube, man, I had zero idea how to do stuff. What happened?
I just deleted what I wrote out.
It is that, like, I would go into school and have to be like, all right, I don't know how to do this on a YouTube video. I don't know how to post this. I don't know how to make sure I monetize it. I don't know how to make sure this is happening. I don't know how to add hashtags onto it so people can actually find it in a search. And the students did it all for me. And so sometimes I won't even put effort into learning something that when Instagram has a new feature, if Snapchat had a feature, if TikTok had a feature, if I was trying to figure out what to do on Twitch, I would always go to students and say, all right, yo, question, this is what I want to do. How are we doing it? And then the kids come in and they give you the answer. And that was just really fun. And I think we could do the same thing this year with regards to trying to figure things out, because sometimes students just know more than we do about certain types of technology. So that's my answer. It's not as full and complete and as well wrapped package as I would like it to be, but that's what I'm thinking about right now. Got another question? Mm-hmm. I see it. H. Sadat, who I know from Instagram, is asking, hey Reynolds, I'm curious to know why you love teaching. Oh snap, it just moved.
Oh, dang it.
Hold on there. I'm getting back to it.
Did it delete? I read it. It was basically, why do you love teaching so much and show up every night to do this chat? And
great question.
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching for a ton of reasons, but I really think that teaching is my calling. It's what I've been given to do. It is, if you take all the things that I'm kind of good at or interested in or wanted to do in the world, teaching is the culmination of all those things together. It just makes sense. And I think that if it's my calling and if it's my passion, then the thing I love about that is it takes away all the other possibilities. What else could I possibly do in the world besides educate? And sometimes that's educating students, sometimes that's educating teachers, sometimes that's educating friends. Like, I feel like I'm always teaching everywhere I go, and I'm always kind of doing this. So because I feel like that's my strong suit, why wouldn't I just do it online also? And a lot of, when I think about calling, it's like what needs to be done, what things need to be done. So we didn't do this because we thought of it, right? It wasn't even like our idea. Most of the things that we have done as a business with Real Rap with Reynolds have come out of folks asking for it, folks asking for a live feed, folks asking if what it would be like if I collabed with someone else, folks asking for the whole reason we have a podcast is because people ask for a podcast. The whole reason we wrote a book is because people were like, you need to write a book. Would you please write a book? Would you please write a book? And then someone said, hey, if you're going to write a book, I could probably hook it up. And then I said, all right. So I wrote a book. The whole reason I want to have an audio book is because folks have asked for it, because we have folks that interact with us online on social that are either blind or have severe, like a sight disability. So it's, you want to create stuff for that. The whole reason I started creating closed captioning on all my videos is because folks from other countries were watching the videos and wanted in their native language, so they needed me to make that accessible to them. So like the Facebook group came about because of that. The whole line is this. I think that what I want to do in the world is help people to be as successful as they possibly can. And I'm not, and I want to make that as clear and as transparent on my end as I can as well. I don't know everything about teaching. I don't know everything about what it's like to be the best parent, the best spouse, the best dog owner, the best friend, the best entrepreneur. Like I don't know all the things. But what I can do is create space for people to have those conversations. Sometimes I have something to add to that conversation, like folks will ask me questions and I have something I can answer. Sometimes I don't, and I have to turn it back to the group, to the community to work out. I think the same thing is true in education, where I don't always have the answers. I'm not always the best messenger, but I can find the messenger and bring them into my classroom and have guests come in and speak to something. I don't always know what to say to, if folks ask me, like when we go back this year, how do you address the death of Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others? How do you address things like racism in the classroom? How do you address All Lives Matter or Black Lives Matter or whatever else, being a white dude, and for me, teaching all black children? I think that I don't have the answers for all that stuff. What I can do is create a safe space to have a conversation about things, to create active learners, to help students to actively listen to one another, to educate themselves, to think outside the box, to communicate with each other, and to talk about things. And so why do I teach? Because I think it's the work that I've been given to do. Why do I do the rest of the stuff that I do? Because I think that that's also what I've been given to do. And when you've been given, and for me, it's if you've been given something to do by God, what do you say? I don't want to do that. It just is not something I want to say. So it's so I do it, and I do it to the best of my ability. So that's my reason. And look, let's be real clear about this too. The business we're building is to also make money, because I want to. Let's go real deep for a second. The business I'm creating, Real Rap with Reynolds, all the teacher class off stuff, the merch coming out, the mentoring that I do, the speaking engagements that I do, the book sales that I do, it's all to make money, because I'm not someone, and we're going to get a little woo-woo here for a second, I'm not someone that just wants to pray for things. I want to be an answer to prayers. And so in making money from these things, I am able to bless kids. I'm able to give kids money that they need for things, for college. I'm able to create spaces like my garden in my backyard that I can invite people over to and they can enjoy it. I can have people over for dinner. I can buy ice cream for kids' friends. Like when all the friends are over, we can just spend money on them and give them ice cream, or take them somewhere, or bring a friend to go do something, or any number of other things that, like, buy Cephas glasses last year when he broke them in college, and like all this kind of stuff. I think that being an entrepreneur, for me, allows us to be an answered prayer. And I think that it allows all of you, in creating this community, right, in working together as one another, we are becoming, all of us, answers to prayer. And so that's my long answer to your short question.
And all of I'm out of order and whack. It just keeps jumping. I skip questions. I don't know. I have to figure out something. Because I even tried to go back in the chat, like on the laptop, and it like disappears at some point. I guess it's only allotted for so much.
Yeah.
See, when you have these long answers,
It's kicking them out?
Yeah.
All right.
Knock it off.
Snap.
Anyway, keep
I
going.
wonder if there's a better way to do that.
I don't know.
We'll figure that out. So if I skipped your question and you see that like yours was next, please just put it in there again. Let us know, like, hey, you skipped my question, so I know that to jump on that one. Because apparently my answers are too long and it's cutting the chat. AB is asking, I'm in school to be a teacher, and there's so much negativity from teachers online. I don't even know that it's worth it anymore. I'm afraid Mr. Reynolds, with his positivity and success, is an outlier. I'm afraid you're afraid that with my positivity and success that I am an outlier.
Yeah.
Let me tell you why that's not true. Oh, that was tricky. Look, one, I am not positive all the time. I am not successful all the time. And I know that all successful and, it's like rich people like to tell you about when they report, right? I think it's a decision. And I think that, it's about canceling those voices. It's about not following those people. There are some, I'll even say like some folks on the internet, like on Instagram per se, but that are extremely funny, that crack me up, that are online and they have really funny posts, but a lot of it, but I'd say about 50% of the time, what is it, like Teacher's Humor or something like that? There's some Instagram account like that, but then the other half of the time, it's like really sarcastic and it's like getting ready to go back to school in the midst of COVID and this pandemic, and it's like, how are we supposed to treat our kids and how are we supposed to say hi? And it's like some of that's just funny, but like some of it is like, it's just energy that I don't want to engage with. It's just stuff that I don't want to get down with. But I think that your success in life, your success in life is largely predicated on who you're around. You are the average, as Jim Rohn says, of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And I only get down with people that are going to build me up. If someone in school is talking trash, I just don't even interact unless I want to push back on purpose, because it's like sometimes like someone will try to take the air out of the room with all that they're saying. It's like, nah, I'm just not having that. Sometimes someone will say something that's like sarcastic towards the kids, towards the school, that is like some sort of like microaggression. It's like, no, I'm just gonna call you on your nonsense right now. And other times it's like, bro, I don't even have time for you. Like, I'm just like, I'm trying to get down with the people I need to get down with. Now, this year is going to be very interesting for that because a lot of my friends aren't coming back. Like Cho and Yonkers and Fines, and a lot of my other friends that I worked with that I've been real close homies with are now gone. So it's like trying to figure out like what that new circle is going to look like. But I think that's where you focus. I think it's focusing on things, and I'm going to shout it out again. The Facebook group, Real Rap With Reynolds Teacher Talk, is a great place to get to know people that are people like us, do things like this, is what Seth Godin says. And then ignoring the rest of that because there is a lot of negativity, but there's a lot of negativity around everything. People like that shit, man. It's magnetizing. You talk trash and people love to commiserate over things, right? Like even if we're just sitting at our swim club that we belong to, and you're sitting there with people and they'll just talk about like, oh, look at her. Who does she think she is with this outfit on? Oh, my man he got the quarantine, 15 or 20 over there going on. Like it's fun to tear people down because then you feel better. It's harder to be positive out loud. But I think the greatest thing we can do for the world, I think Patch Adams said this in his book Gesundheit, one of the best things we can do for the world, one of the most revolutionary acts we could do for the world is to be happy out loud. And so it's not enough it's just like your love you feel for your family doesn't do them any damn good, right? The love you show for your family and your friends is what actually changes the world. And so stand up in the midst of that. If you feel like the rest of educators and people in education are bringing everybody down, then make some more noise. Find some more people. Start a party and invite people into it. Make it awesome. Like find things to do that have you being revolutionarily, I don't even know, Edie's going to dog my language later, revolutionarily out loud about the way you're doing things and have that positivity spread, because it's, that negativity is just a virus and everyone's going to get it. But tell people, scratch that. I'm not doing that shit. And then get down to business and do great stuff.
Well, you didn't even mention what we love that Oprah says. Oprah always says, you are responsible for the energy that you bring in the room.
Yeah. Actually, Oprah quoted somebody else, but yeah.
Sorry.
You are responsible for the energy you bring into the room. Game changer right there. Amen. Because you are like when you enter into a room and you're just like, oh God, another meeting. Like if you just have to figure out ways to flip the script. And I figure out all kinds of ways to make meetings I don't want to be in fun. I take pictures of people and draw on them and then I send them to them when I'm sitting there. I bring props and dumb crap with me, like my bubbles, or I just made this thing the other day. Out of some old plywood. Ready? Meeting getting started and action.
Wow, that's really loud.
It is loud. Means it works. So it's about like just trying to figure that out, or like go to a meeting and bring
Oh,
your gorilla arm with you. Hey everybody.
I'm really.
Did
I just
you
want to
mess up?
say that no, it's just moving, and like Mr. James Pete had like a long question, and it's just it keeps not letting me. Yeah,
Sorry, Pete. I care about you.
I'm sorry, Mr. James Pete. I think all of your things got deleted because it just keeps moving. So and it was lengthy, and I think a lot. So email it to him.
Or see if you can send it again. I don't know how that works. It is a pain in the ass. I'm gonna try and have shorter answers.
Okay, so I'm just
Let's
going.
go. Rapid fire. We're 70 minutes in anyway.
How's my dishwasher? It's here, Tracy, but
It
it's
is.
not installed
Sitting
yet.
right there.
I can
It's coming
see
this week. My buddy,
there.
who we call Cool Tom because he's cool, is coming to set it up this week.
Little Space Freckle says, I think there's a way to turn on slow mode in the chat so it's not moving too fast. It's not moving too fast. It literally doesn't allow me to go back. Like, it's...
Far enough. It only goes back so far.
Yeah, like...
It's
Yeah.
a pain in the butt. All right.
I've never had it. Yeah, I don't have any of Mr. James. Anyway, I just gotta
He always
find a
asks good
question.
questions too.
I know.
And he likes Van Halen. It's like we're kindred souls. Kindred the family.
Something about 20 hours a day. All I know is you shouldn't be working 20 hours a day. Now I
Unless
have
you
to
really
find a
like it.
question. I guess, yeah.
Come on, man. I like breathing. Do that 24
Okay, here
hours
we
a
go.
day.
There's...
Got it? Okay, next one. So, sorry. I don't know why this is doing
I'm
this, but
skipping
it's happening.
people's questions because I can't get back
So
to
I'll
them.
try and do some quick answers. James Pete's all over in here too, so it's a shame because he's such an active member too. Jacob Lopez is asking, I have 2 weeks before school starts and I just found out that I'm teaching Latin American Studies, a new course that's been approved. Any recommendations where to start? Don't recreate the wheel. I think find stuff online and sprinkle magic on top of it, and find things that are, and I don't mean like TPT because TPT is such a pain in the butt because you can't see everything. Like it's like little, they make it all blurry, so you don't really know what you're buying. But I would start by Googling the greatest, what is it? The greatest Latin American Studies curriculum ever, or Great Latin American Studies lesson plan, or something along those lines. I think is really great, and that's kind of where I would start. Otherwise, I would just, if anyone is watching this, even if you watch it afterwards, if you could hook up my friend John Lopez, if you have a curriculum, if you know somewhere that he can get something for Latin American Studies because he is in a time crunch, could you send that to him or find a way to get that to him? And Jacob, if you put that in the Facebook group too, let's shout that out and say, like, if you put that in the Facebook group, folks can give you resources there too. And I am so certain that you will get more than enough stuff if you put it in there.
Man, Janice said that she quit her job because her school was not taking the safeguard precautions seriously enough, and they won't go digitally.
Janice said that, Bonner?
Yeah.
So let me just say that, Janice, I think that like, first of all, that is insane, right? That you would have to quit your job because the school's not being safe enough, right? It's crazy. Let's just note that situation. 2, on some level, I want to say good for you, right? Like, I know like kids miss out and kids aren't having, like, there's a lot going on. But the fact that we have to pick one or the other, the safety of you, your family, and your community, or educating children and meeting their needs. The fact that there's only, that we're making this a this or this, you're saying kids aren't important if you want to love your family and take care of them and not have your, grandmom get sick, or you really love children and you're willing to do anything for them, but then your kids might get sick and end up in the hospital. So I say good for you. If there's anything I can do to help, if you need help getting through that moment, please just contact me and let me know, and I'd happy to help you with anything that I can, because I know that's difficult. And yeah, I hope that works out. So like Janice, I would just say real quick, considering tutoring online, doing something like OutSchool. If you go to outschool.com, they pay like up to, I think it's like $40 an hour to start for educators to teach virtually to kids that are just being homeschooled and learning virtually. Or if you do something like Dada ABC or VIP Kids, might be a really good move and a way for you to make money while you don't have a job right now. What do you got? You want me to sing?
No, I
You
don't.
want me to spin in my chair?
Here, nope, got one.
Too late because I already did it.
I'm just going.
I was
random.
spinning. I don't even know what the back of my hair looks like either. Because it's a waist up world and face front world too. Hannah O'Leary is asking, first year teacher here. So first of all, congratulations, fantastic. You're going to have a story to tell your grandchildren and all the other teachers that are like, it's my first year and I'm scared. Be like, when I first started, it was a pandemic. What do you got? My head is full of ideas and checklists. What would you say are the most important things or a few things that I should focus on tomorrow for my first day of pre-planning? Hannah, I think the best thing that you can do, I have a video out that's called What I Do on the First Day of School. I also have a video out that's called What I Do on the Second Day of School. I do not, however, have a video out that's called What I Do on my Third Day of School, because I don't remember. I think it's about building excitement and building engagement in the classroom from the beginning. If you go onto my website, I have... if you go to realrapwithreynolds.com and you find resources, is it still called resources? I forget what John calls it now. You're doing something else. Ow, and you just stabbed me with your fingernail.
I'm sorry.
Ah!
Sorry about
We're live.
that.
All right. I hope so. I'm gonna get nailitis now. I have a resource that's called a Who Am I sheet, and it's a way that I get kids to fill out things about who they are. I also get kids to do a life map in the beginning of the year. It's like, how can you find out more about your students? How can you make the first day of school like a movie trailer for the rest of the year? I like telling kids that I'm excited about school, that I'm excited about them, and I'm excited that we're going to learn this year. I'm excited that I'm a teacher and I love my job. Because frankly, I don't know who Frank is, but frankly, I've never had a teacher in my life that has told me that they were excited about the school year or that they actually liked their job. They instead spend all their time and energy on the first few days telling me about what we're not going to do, what we're not going to get away with, what is not going to happen this year, people, all right? You need to understand. This is 7th grade, not in 6th grade anymore. Every teacher says that for every grade too. If you're in 4th grade, you're not in 3rd grade anymore, and we have to get ready for 5th grade, because all of a sudden 5th grade is business. Then you get in 5th grade and they want to tell you that this isn't 4th grade anymore, people, all right? Not just going to the bathroom whenever we want. We're not handing in late work. We're not taking sloppy stuff, right? It's like, it's so ridiculous, and it is setting the wrong energy for the school year, man. Why not be excited? Why not tell kids that even though this thing sucks and we're stuck in a classroom with plywood or plexiglass between us, because if you're using plywood, that's weird, but but we dream on a budget. If we are learning virtually, like, I get it. I understand. This is not optimal. We're going to make the greatest effort that we can to make this the best year possible for all of us. And that's what I would focus on. And then I think I plan out 5 weeks in advance, right? So each unit in my class is 5 weeks. I go to like timeanddate.com and I print out their free calendar, and then I pencil in all the stuff that we have to do. So I coordinate my weeks, so I know exactly what it's going to look like, and then I have a basic picture of how this is going to rock and how many lessons I can get through, how many pages I can assign a day, when I want a test to be, so I can reverse engineer and know how much time I have to get ready for that particular assessment, or when the project is due, and then backwards plan that, like reverse engineer that, so you have some sense of like what you want that to look like, to get ready for that thing as well. So that's what I'm thinking about. What do you got, buddy?
I don't even know.
It's all screwed up now, man.
I know, I'm
really
all
sorry.
out of sorts.
I know it makes you feel bad too. It already makes you feel bad that we don't get to every question every week too. I'm just gonna sit here silently.
I know, I had one and then
Let me play sad music. Want to do black and white for a second?
No.
For the
You
cost
can
of a
talk
cup of
about
coffee a day.
Stop. You can talk about James
Feed a
Pete's,
puppy.
question. Essentially, he is supposed to teach in the classroom and also the virtual academy at the same time. Like,
Yeah.
he's responsible for both.
That's what they wanted us to do.
Yeah.
Not happening. So this is why. I just think, look, James, I also think, I don't want to say, sometimes I don't want to say things because I don't want people to get in trouble. So like, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, see if you get down with the spirit of it. I think this year is going to be so convoluted that the people that are keeping an eye on us normally are not going to have time to keep an eye on us. There's not enough time to pop into everyone's Zoom, check everyone's Google Classroom, because there's so many fires to put out. It's like, what are we doing here? I think it's also important to, with trusted members of your school community, figure out what are people actually going to do? What are they making this look like? How much work are they actually giving? What does the virtual look like versus the in-person? And then trim the fat. And knowing that the virtual piece, I just don't think it has to be very long. I mean, people that watch my channel know that I don't give homework. And if I give homework, it is very, very seldom to begin with. So when we started doing virtual learning, it was like, I'm not giving 45-minute assignments every day. It's dumb. And not everyone has enough time to do it. Like, students don't go to class and do 45 to 50 minutes worth of work every day anyway. We're having conversations. We're working on stuff. We're answering questions. We're figuring things out. We're moving our seats and our desks and setting up. It doesn't, like, learning something doesn't take that much time. I think it's about letting students figure out how much time any particular assignment is going to take them. But I would say it is about listening to what you and your community think is the best plans. A lot of times the folks that are in charge are what they're trying to do in a lot of schools right now, and I know this because I work with them, is they are trying to take the model we came from and fit that into this new virtual world. And it's like, no, this isn't how it works anymore. Like, it doesn't have to take that long. It doesn't have to be that model. We can figure out a new way to make this work that's more optimal than trying to take this thing and make it work here. Like, that's just, it doesn't work that way all the time. So that's what I'm thinking about for that. And also you burn yourself out because there's too many forms and things to fill out and obligations, because the people that are making the decisions are not the people that are in the classroom. And they won't be in the classroom. And that's my problem with a lot of this COVID stuff too, is like the folks that are making the decisions are not going to be in harm's way. They're basically generals that are sending the soldiers out to go figure things out. And it's just a bad move, right? Like, and they're not answering all the questions. They're not thinking through a lot of these things. So yeah.
Hey, someone said I'm nervous about touching papers. Like,
That was a student that just started calling me.
I think.
But even things like, look, I don't like fear. Like, I don't like pushing fear, but I think about the fact that I don't wash my ties. I don't know a man that does. Maybe there's somebody out there that's a tie washer, but I don't wash my ties. I also, when I wear cardigan sweaters, I don't wash them every time after I wear them, right? Because they don't last if you do that. But if I wear clothes to school every day, shouldn't I be washing them? So, like, should teachers be allowed to wear scrubs to school, to wear something that can be thrown in the wash every single day? I don't even want to come in my house.
Yeah.
I don't want to come in and, like, usually I come in from school, I don't get changed. I rock that outfit until we get changed for bed, right? And it's like, but I don't want to,
No,
so where do
if you were doing in-person teaching, like in the building, if you actually even did it, I would make you go in the backyard and like literally strip from shoes to like come in your boxers.
There's an
like,
Instagram live feed of my neighbors would be like, yeah, there's the guy, gets undressed in his backyard every day. So,
and then come in and shower.
Yeah, I just it's terrible. And I hear what you're saying with that paper stuff, especially for schools that don't have access, right? Like, I just saw someone on here, it's the woman I was talking to the other day from the Caribbean, that like, what if you don't have computers? What if you're not one-to-one? What if you only have paper and pencil? Like, what do you do then? It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, you want to keep answering questions, or are we going to end because it's 2:30?
Yeah, let's do one more. I'm starving.
There you go.
Starving.
That last question, the purple.
This one?
Yes.
Steven?
Yep.
Steven Carl Mendoza is asking, question, this year our school released some teachers. Now I have around 250 students. Bro, did you ever have an experience with a lot of students? Have you ever How do you even grade them? Steven, all right, so I've never taught that many kids in my life. I've had 150, I think is the biggest I've ever had in my life. That was 5 classes a day, 30 students per class. Maybe a little bit more than that, because I've had classes that I've had 31, 32 students in it. Hip hop classes had a lot more than that. But anyway, the point of the matter is I think it is figuring out ways. What I would do is, look, let's break it down like this. I'm not sure if I'm right in this, but I really believe that education is important. Education is the pathway to success for students, right? And so it is what's going to be allow them to go from where they are to where they want to be. And we are literally empowering students to be able to educate them. That being said, if we go through a year where kids have a less than optimal learning environment, a learning experience, that they're not having every question answered, they're not getting all the challenges that they need met. If we are helping them to do something instead of nothing, we are helping them to win. We are keeping the machine moving. The train is still moving down the track, not at the speed that it was before, but we're still going forward. I think that something is better than nothing. And so if we look at this year in a way that we are giving our students something and we are moving the needle forward, I think the kids win. And look, and that's even if it's not as good as it could be. It's not as great as it would be normally. So if you are, I usually don't do multiple choice anything. I just don't think I don't think that it's real world learning. That being said, if you can figure out Google Sheets, or I know my co-teacher, I don't know how to do this, but I'll give you the idea anyway, where you can make online multiple choice assessments for students, great. I am not affiliated with TPT, but if you can find something that's going to help you to plan, help you to put stuff out, help you to have assessments that are already ready, doing something like that, using apps like GradeSaver that you can scan. I would make multiple choice forms, and GradeSaver gives you essentially a Scantron sheet, which I'm not a big fan of Scantrons either, but it gives you the sheet. You can use your phone to just click it and it grades it right there. Any way that you can use to expedite sort of some of those processes that are going to just keep you down and wipe you out, so that you can just focus on students and learning, I think that that's what I would do. And look, it's going to have to be what it's going to have to be, because we're in the middle of something difficult. This is for all you 80s kids out there. This is the A-Team, right? This is the end of the A-Team episode, where you have some kitty litter, a fly swatter, some duct tape, and a piece of chewing gum. You have to figure out what to do with it. Or the end of MacGyver, where you're, the same list of ingredients, but always with a pocket knife. It is trying to figure it out to the best that we can, staying centered on kids, staying centered on what's important, filling ourselves up so that we don't get so washed out and so beat up that we can't do anything, and knowing that we as a community can get through this together. I'm not so sure all the time about leadership, right? Some schools have amazing leadership. Maybe Richard Royster was your assistant principal. Maybe you have great admin like I've had in the past. Maybe you work for someone that is amazing, and I don't know, Hamish Brewer is your principal, and it's game on, right? But for those of you that don't, it's about finding a community, whether that's online or in person, that's going to help you get through this year, help you stay centered on students, help you, have what it takes to get through the year. And that, I think, has to be the primary concern. So it's not about looking at just those specific things. It's about looking at the big picture and figuring out, how do we not just survive this, but how do we thrive through this? And I think that's going to inform our practice when we go back to school and make us even more amazing teachers than ever before. So that's going to be my closing. Should have played slow music over that inspirational song. It would have been funny.
So
gang, look, if you are not a part of it already, before you go, I want to tell you the Facebook group, Real Rap with Reynolds Teacher Talk, is a really great place to get in touch. My book is out, Real Rap with, or Teacher Class Off, the Real Rap Guide to Teaching. And I think that is the reason I talk about this, right? The reason I even wrote a book is because I think it could actually help you. I think it's a really great resource, and stuff I wish existed when I first started teaching. So if you're into that, you can do that. And if you have read it and you wouldn't mind writing an Amazon review, that would be awesome. That's my one ask this week. If you could do that, if you read the book. That's it. Gang, I hope you have a great week, and I hope this is you're getting closer and closer to your dream of getting back into the classroom.
So.
There's Brody. That's it, everybody. Have a great week.
Peace!
Now we have. How do we end this, bro?
I have no idea.